Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 117 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. How's it going, guys?
What's going on?
You know, stuff.
Hey, so I want to make sure I address this nice, bright and early.
Oh.
The last review on iTunes was petty. I want to make sure that I address this so everybody understands something.
Oh, no.
I am going to do with my kids more than I'm going to do with the podcast and with anything else. And here's the thing. We don't need you. If you don't like the podcast, don't listen. Nobody cares except you. And then going on and being petty about it makes it even worse. You obviously listen to the whole show to be then able to point out things. Why'd you waste your time?
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Crazy. Normally, regular, bad reviews don't bother me. This one was just so petty that I was like, it's got to be addressed. But I'm going to, again, put it out there for everybody. If you don't want to listen, don't listen. I don't care. I really don't.
Well, we want people to listen, but if you don't like the show, then don't listen. That's that's up to you.
Listen, I get when people want to complain about things they pay for, and that's fully understandable, right? You download an app and you don't like it, and you're like, oh man, I pay 10. This is free. We're doing this of our own accord. But everyone, that says that I leave early and listen, I'm going to address it again. My family is more important than the podcast. If you don't like that, if that hurts your feelings, don't listen.
And let me back you up on that and say, neither Tom nor I get upset when Damon leaves because we fully understand. So if we're not getting upset, you don't need to get upset.
Well, you also have to look at it too. Like we've done weekly now for quite a while, and we put out a show every single week. And Damon hasn't missed one show, I don't think, since we've gone weekly. Exactly. It's a big commitment.
The thing is, if you're going to take all that effort and time to write a bad review like that, it's just petty. Just don't write the review and don't listen. Really, we're not taking to what you say and changing our show. We're not ever going to do that. Because the show is about what we do, right? Our show, right? Exactly. Not your show, right? Like if you don't like it, you can go start your own show. Like that's really cool. Like go ahead, right? It just, normally they don't bother me. This one I was like, dude, this is so petty. Like, wow. Like really? Okay. Okay.
We also did have a nice 5-star one.
We did. We like those. We do like those.
Yeah, it does feel like there's very little middle ground. It's either like a hate or a love.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like if I hate a television show, you know what I don't do? Watch all of it and then go online and complain.
Yeah.
I don't watch it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was actually I've been watching Riverdale a lot for the last little while.
I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah.
And here's the, to your point though, is, at some points it was like, it got to like, okay, come on. Like I was starting to get annoyed with it. And I actually realized that I was like, I don't have to watch this if it's bugging me.
You really don't. You really don't.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, we do want to say thank you because the last episode did extremely well. Surprisingly well.
Yeah.
So we're happy about that. So we do appreciate all of that as well.
Especially in Belgium.
Especially in Belgium.
Oh, man. Doing inside jokes on the show. Okay.
Yeah. We have a lot of questions, though.
Yeah. Go ahead, Trevor.
All right. I was going to say, that whole Belgium thing was just weird. I knew something was up there, but...
Yeah, and sorry about the Spotify thing. It was a weird thing that happened. So hopefully it won't happen again. But
we
completely out of our control, by the way.
It really it completely is, and it's Spotify operates differently from basically all of the other podcast apps. So and that's why everything else worked and that one didn't. So there was just a small issue there.
But there's not a lot of people that are actually listening on Spotify.
That's true. Spotify is not one of the main ways people listen. So,
but my wife does. So I
So we have to make
we got it.
We have to fix things.
Yeah. There was it was one of those things where it took like 3 days because like Spotify was like, it's your podcast host's fault, and the podcast host was like, it's Spotify's fault, and so it was just kind of going back and forth.
The Spider-Man. It was Spotify's fault, by the way.
Yeah, it was Spotify's fault. So, anyway.
All right.
So we do have a lot of questions.
Yeah, let's get into these.
All right, let's do it.
So I like Jay's first question. What is the worst restaurant you've eaten out on property? His hot take is ours is Le Cellier, which
whoa,
I feel that because I don't like the menu at Le Cellier. I feel it's trying too hard.
I mean, I've eaten there like I'm going to say 3 or 4 times, and it's like one of our favorite restaurants. But I've heard people have had bad experiences there. I have never had a bad experience.
I think also a lot of again, restaurant wise, is going to be where you're from, and what you can get that's good in your area. I think that makes a huge difference because. For me, I'm going to say just Chef Mickey because I just didn't care for it. I think the pricing also factors in there a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
So Chef Mickey was the worst food I think I've eaten eaten on property. But, the experience was fine. But again, right? Like, so for me, like I'm always going down there doing Chinese food. I mean, is it the best Chinese food I've ever had? No, because I lived outside of New York. Like the best Chinese food I ever had was in New York. But since I don't have it where I am now, it's a higher priority. So I think that has to factor in as well as cost.
I've never had a true. I totally agree with you, but and it's hard to stomach Chef Mickey, right? Because it's a buffet, and it's buffet.
It's not a great buffet.
It's just an okay buffet, but you're paying for the experience there, really, more than anything, right? And but it's hard to stomach the actual bill because it's like you feel like you didn't get a great meal for how much you spent. But
yeah, I mean, but even money aside, I would still say it's my worst. The food was just not that good.
So I'll say I don't think I've ever had a truly bad meal, and maybe I'm just not that hard to please, I guess. But I think the worst one I actually had, the worst experience that we had, the one that I didn't like the most, was actually a restaurant that a lot of people love, and that was I think it was Olivia's at Old Key West.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I remember. I don't know if you guys remember my trip report on this, but it was. Like, it just was, the portions were really small. It was really expensive, and it was super mediocre. And everybody always is like, oh, you got to go to Olivia's. Olivia's is amazing. And maybe I just had too high of expectations. And I love breakfast too. Like breakfast, I absolutely love. We went there for breakfast, and it was just okay. And I feel like I'd had so many better breakfasts before. And I think I got, oh gosh, I don't remember what I got exactly, but whatever it was like, there was like a hash brown casserole or something, and it was like literally 2 bites and it was gone. And it was like, come on. And it was like $14, of course. So, and the service wasn't great. It just wasn't great overall. But honestly, I haven't had a terrible, like really awful where I was like, call the manager. I'm not paying for this kind of situation.
I don't think I'd ever do that anyway.
I wouldn't do that anyway,
No.
But I don't think I've ever had one like that.
Does this include quick service when we're talking restaurants?
I think so. Doesn't say sit down.
Because he just said restaurant, right?
I don't consider quick serve a restaurant personally, but I mean, I guess we'll allow it.
Well, so I want to add Electric Umbrella to the list of worst places to get food. We ate there once, and this was like in 2006. We ate there, and it was the most awful burger I've ever had. And then we actually, on our last trip in 2019, we actually were like, hey, let's just pop back in here and see if it's any different. We walked in, and my son commented, he's like, what is that smell? And he was like, even he was turned off walking in the door, and we just turned around and walked right back out again. 'Cause we were like, nope, this isn't worth it.
Yeah, I don't think, I think we went into Electric Umbrella last time we were there. Oh, well, yeah, I don't think it was closed the last time we were there yet. But yeah, that's not one of our go-tos. There's so much good food in Epcot. It's like,
I would agree with that.
It's like, why even go there, right?
Well, that was, like I said, back in 2006, it was, we didn't know any better, and we went in there, got food, and found that it was awful. And yeah, you're right. I think it's punctuated by the fact that you have the entire World Showcase like right next to it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm hoping whatever happens to that in the future, when it comes back, that it's better than it was. That would be good. All right. I think we covered that question, huh?
Yeah. Let's.
This next one's interesting. I think B and E are probably again we're following Tom's Tom's outline here, but I think B and E are the same question, really.
No, I think those are different questions to me. I mean, I guess we can answer them at the same time because they're related. I don't disagree with that. So,
I don't know. I think they're very intertwined. So Chris asked, do you think the increasing focus on media over parks could leave the parks wanting for experiences and the extras that we have come to take for granted? And then Dan asked, what would you consider Disney's core product to be? Yes, it's entertainment, but what is the soul of the company? So for me, I actually thought about this for a while because I had a gut answer. And then I was like, it's the parks. The parks are first and foremost, right? So do I think there's an increasing focus on media over parks? No, because I think it all comes back to the parks at the end of the day. That's where everything starts. There is new ideas that aren't park originated as an increase on media, right? But I still think the park is still the focus at the end of the day. Even if it's not necessarily the highest moneymaker, it's what makes you watch those shows. Because without the parks, and this is no knock, I like a lot of DreamWorks stuff. I really do. But they are second place in terms of animated stuff most of the time because of the parks. And I think that's where it's all interconnected for me. Without the parks, it's just an animated movie. And if it doesn't have that Disney name attached to it, I'm less likely to watch it. We were watching some Bigfoot thing on Netflix that's out this week. It was just terrible. But I could have probably told you that because it's not Disney. There's just something to be said about Disney entertainment that I don't necessarily say that they don't put out bad movies, but your ratio is way higher. Their team is just way better, but it all originates from the parks.
Well, and even you were skeptical about that Raya movie. That movie got amazing reviews. It got incredible reviews, actually.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I mean, that's the whole another thing. While I think $30 is well priced for
the premium,
for family entertainment, I would not be getting my whole family to watch, so it becomes a little less cost attractive. Plus, it's a time thing too. There's so much television out there, so much that. Do I need that when we have brand new episodes of Amphibia and Secrets of Sulphur Springs?
Yeah, and you could just wait. Yeah, you could just wait for it to come to Disney Plus, for free, right? So
you're hitting a pain point with me because I still don't have either of those shows up here.
Dude, I'm going to tell you that the new episode of Sulphur Springs, so that's episode 10 out of 11, we were all like, whoa, right? And it was interesting about that is that the last episode, we were like, oh, please don't be a half an hour. Please don't be a half an hour. It's over 2 hours. So it's really well done. And it harkens back to one of my favorite movies, Back to the Future. It's done in that sort of way. Actually, Back to the Future was just on before I came up here. And I was like, man, what shows could I watch over and over again? We watched Weird Mageddon over the weekend again, all three, parts of it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, I still like this, and Back to the Future feels the same way for me. I would tell you Sulphur Springs may be a one and done just because of just of what's going on, right? Like the way the show is put together with this time travel, but it's so well done. It's worth the watch. And Amphibia just came back, this week as well. And it was first episode of the second part of season 2. And it was enjoyable because it always is enjoyable. So sorry, Trevor. I mean, you'll get there, but
but the other one's a new show. I'm surprised that's not up in Canada.
I don't understand the logic, but I was reading it, and supposedly it was supposed to show up back at the end of February on Disney Plus, and it's not available. It's I've been looking every day in the what's new, and it's just not in there for some reason.
So let me ask a question though. So what does Canadian Disney Now look like?
We don't have Disney Now.
Okay.
That answers your question.
That's what it looks like then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have Disney Channel or no?
We have Disney Channel. So you got to subscribe to it through cable. So you got to.
So you don't do that. Okay.
Yeah. So and that's the problem, right?
You could be watching it, but you'd have to have a whole cable subscription to do such.
Yeah. And I can't do that for just one show.
Of course. Understandable.
Yeah, so going back to the question, sorry.
I was actually going to circle back on this based on everything we said here. I would actually debate with you, Damon, that it's not either the movies or the parks that are the core of Disney's product. It's actually the storytelling, because That's the intersection of those two things.
Sure, but here's what my rebuttal to you. Take one away. Which one do you have to take away?
Which one do you have to take away?
So which one depends on, so parks don't necessarily depend on the movies in my thought process, right? But the other way around is for sure, right? So I could get by on books and the parks, but I can't get by on the movies without the parks because they mean nothing. They're just another animation studio without the parks. There's something that ties everything together. The reason that I want to, like the Frozen ride, right? Because that's a perfect example of something coming after what we got, but it's so intertwined now that ride is so key in the parks. I think that it feeds that way for me. I could see it not being that way for everybody, but that's the way I feel. You take away the parks, they're an animation studio and I don't care as much. But you take away the movies, I'm still going to Disney.
Because it's making something not real tangible, right? It's like
Sure.
bringing it into the real world. It's, and it just amplifies it. It's like it's like a cycle for them almost in a weird way where they, sometimes the parks feed the movies and then the movies feed the parks. And, it's all kind of part of this. But I guess if I looked at it, I would say their core product is animation and the parks. I would say both of them, because I feel like, again, like they're related, like Damon's saying. I do not think that they're going to de-emphasize the parks at all. I didn't read into what Chapek was saying. I don't think that that's what he's trying to say. I think he's just trying to say that they're going to emphasize Disney Plus more than they're emphasizing everything else. Like as far as on the production side, they're going to put a lot more things into Disney Plus instead of, putting out TV shows on, Disney Channel or whatever. I don't think that it really even has anything to do with the parks. Disney Plus is its own thing, and it's, they're going to invest in it, and it's going to take a while for that to even make them money. The parks make them a lot of money in normal times, right? So the parks are a moneymaker, and Disney Plus is not going to be a moneymaker for years. I mean,
not until all those original contracts for them run out, which again, it was a mistake, but it was pre-pandemic mistake that they just couldn't see.
Yeah.
So I don't fault them for it.
Yeah, it's cost them a ton of money to produce all that original content. I mean, I think I was reading the WandaVision episodes were like 10 million a pop. I mean, or 15 million. It was a lot. Or maybe that was that seems crazy, dude. Falcon and Winter Soldier it might have been instead, but those are like hour-long episodes. So, but no, that's what I read. I mean, they're spending billions of dollars to put new content to Disney Plus because that's what you have to do, right? Like Netflix doesn't.
Wow, Tom, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow. They're saying during development, the budget for each episode of WandaVision was $25 million.
Yep. Told you. Yeah. It's
wow, that's
right?
crazy.
Holy.
Yeah. I mean, it was worth it because it was great. It got a lot of buzz. I mean, it crashed Disney Plus a couple times. I mean,
how do you make that money back when everybody's already bought for 3 years? And again, they say the budget was up to. So, I mean, I don't think all the episodes were that, but
probably
still.
Not. Yeah.
I feel like, that's going to hit. WandaVision is a long game if you think about it, because the way that whole series played out, it's
how
very
many episodes
clear.
Were there?
There's 9. Yeah. It's very
call
clear.
It 200 million, and I mean a movie itself is usually over that budget wise, right?
Yeah. One of those Marvel movies is 200 million plus, right?
So it makes this. It's about the same as a movie. But you're recouping
you're making
no
subs
cost
on it instead of, and I'm doubting a lot of people canceled after WandaVision was over because, there was a lot of people that came to Disney Plus for The Mandalorian and maybe canceled after. But
with Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus all in one package for a pretty cheap price, I don't necessarily think we're getting a lot of people canceling it. But again, we're running up into this, again, we're not the problem is we're running up into it's going to cost as much as cable to have all the services you want. So what's the point?
Oh yeah.
And that's what's, again, a little frustrating.
But when I look at that bundle that you're talking about, that's cheaper than what I pay for Netflix right now. I think Netflix at this point is up to like $18 a month or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So I'm still paying, I'm getting 3 services for less than Netflix. And, Disney Plus we use more than anything actually in this house because my daughter, watches all the Disney stuff all the time. So, Disney Plus gets used probably probably more than anything else does. I actually turned on Hulu yesterday for the first time in quite a while. I kind of forgot it existed because there's not a lot on there that I want. And I do wonder if Disney's eventually going to fold that into Disney Plus somehow. But
I don't think so. They want a nice clean separation between family content and non-family
and adult content.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, did you see what they did with Star? Where it's like it has its own section, but I mean that's crossing into some non-family stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
You
just have to have strong parental controls, I guess, right? And which they do already,
and that's the thing is that I noticed when Star got turned on, they actually a thing came up saying, your profile is default 14, it was like a kid's 14 was the highest ranking on it until you actually went and said, I want to see beyond that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I just don't. I think a lot of people are reading into what the CEO said, and I don't think it means less focus on the parks. I just don't. I don't see that that's what he's saying. I just see he's saying that all of their media power is going to be focused on Disney Plus as opposed to the other places that they focused before, because they almost have 100 million subscribers already, which they didn't expect to get there for like 6 years, and they got there in like less than 2. So I mean, it's an obvious move for them to pour everything into Disney Plus, but I don't think that hurts the parks. I think parks are completely separate. They're a totally different division. They're a totally different part of the company. And I just don't think they're going to be like, well, we got to pay for another Marvel show, so no new rides at Epcot. I don't think that that's how they're going to look at it.
And like you said, it's that whole ebb and flow thing. I think it's, you're going to see, right now, definitely they're making sure they don't miss the train on the hype around Disney Plus and the fact that there are so many people on it, and them also knowing that, coming out of the pandemic and getting back to normal, there's going to be some lead up time on that. So, it's not, that's not something that's going to be fixed in the next year. Like they're not going to announce a whole bunch of stuff for the parks in the next year, knowing full well that they're not going to be able to take full advantage of it, right? So
the parks are going to take years to recover, to go back to what they were before, right?
Exactly.
Like as far as attendance goes and everything. Although there might be some just built up glut of people needing to get out and do stuff. I mean, I think that's going to happen. But
right now,
I don't think it's
right now that's irrelevant because the parks are capped. It doesn't matter how many people want to go; they're controlling that. So.
That's exactly right. So but I think right now Disney Plus should be because it's been the one bright spot for them, really, right?
Yeah,
it's been the one spot because all the other businesses are shut down. I mean, their movies are shut down, the cruise ships are shut down, parks are shut down, all of that stuff is shut down. And the only real business that they have functioning right now is Disney Plus, and basically, I mean, I guess ESPN is still too, but with sports were even shut down. So I think they need to focus on Disney Plus in the short term, but also in the long term too. But I mean, listen, if you don't do stuff to the parks constantly, the people stop going. So they're going to have to, they have to continue investing, like and they will. I mean, because they want people to continue going, especially, with Universal's going to, keep developing their third park. So
I had never heard of that place in New Jersey, Tom. Did you see that? The Nickelodeon universe thing?
No. What is that?
What? Yeah, it's where the old, I think it's where the old ski jump.
It's in
right?
It's in the new mall.
Yeah,
I remember
mall
that mall. Trevor, there's this mall in New Jersey that was basically under development for like 20 years, like literally, and just sat there vacant for like 15 of those years, and they finally finished it off, and they built a giant indoor amusement park in there.
Yeah, a Nickelodeon amusement park and rides.
Yeah,
and for some reason, I just didn't, I wasn't on. It wasn't on my radar, and then I saw something about it, and I was like. Because I was thinking to myself, why is there no Nickelodeon rides anywhere? And then I saw this, and I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things that I always remember because it's right by Giant Stadium too. Like it's right up in the Meadowlands there, and I remember going by it a lot. When I
wish Universal would just take all of Nickelodeon. How cool would that be?
And just build Nickelodeon stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
You're making me, sorry, tangent, but you're making me remember back when I was a kid, we had a local, it's still there, but the local amusement park was sponsored by Hanna-Barbera. And all the rides were, there was Flintstone themed stuff everywhere and Scooby-Doo and stuff. And
what about the Laugh Olympics? Because that's the best show.
They didn't do Laugh Olympics, unfortunately. Okay. But it was a lot of. I remember it being.
Wait, which is the one?
Flintstone.
Which is the one with the planes and the Baron and the Laffy dog?
That was Laugh Olympics. Where
they didn't have a separate show.
No, he was part of that.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember. Muttley. Yeah, Muttley was the dog. Yeah.
Muttley.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a Hanna-Barbera, like was there a Yogi Bear ride or something at Universal back in the day? Am I forgetting this? It's not still there.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe this is, I don't know. Now I got to Google this.
All right, well that's good. We're 24 minutes in.
We went off on a really weird tangent this time.
Huge, it's huge rabbit hole.
So Bobby's new to the group, but has come up with some great questions, and we appreciate that. So, all right, this is interesting. So if you could trade your points in and get a 3-bedroom villa for a week for the rest of your contract, but you have to give up 5 years of your contract, would you? I think this is just strictly a points question, right? Like, would I? Probably, because I don't have enough points for a 3-bedroom villa every year. So would I give up 5 years? Yeah, probably for me.
Yeah, I think you come out really ahead if you take that deal, right? Because if you think about it, like, if let's say you only have 200 points a year, you're talking about giving up 1,000 points over the 50-year contract. I feel like you come out way ahead if you do the 3-bed.
Here's my only take.
Unless you just truly don't want the 3-bedroom.
That's my thing is that I don't have any need for a 3-bedroom. Like my family is 3. Like there's 3 of us. We don't need those huge spaces. So I personally wouldn't do this for a 3-bedroom, for a 2-bedroom, maybe, because that's still, it's not too much room. I feel like a 3-bedroom would just be like overkill.
Yeah. And for me, it's not bad because, right, we get 1 bedroom, my boys get another bedroom, and my daughter gets a 3rd bedroom. For us, it would work.
Yeah.
What if you just, rent out the other 2 rooms?
Yeah, right.
I'll give you 25 points a night for a room in a 3-bedroom. I'd be good with that.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Then I have to share the space.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Then you got to share the common spaces. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. So there was a Yogi Bear ride, by the way. It wasn't Yogi Bear, but it was the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera. It was at Universal Studios Florida. I remember this.
Oh, I happen to remember that.
Yeah, I remember it from when I was a kid. It was like a simulator ride. Yeah.
You know what also I remember is when they made Jimmy Neutron. Again,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Neutron had a ride. It was the simulator ride as well. And that was good as well.
This closed in 2002, by the way, so it's been gone for quite a long time.
I don't think Jimmy Neutron closed that. Wait, is Jimmy Neutron even still there? Tom, while you're Googling, right? Okay, Universal Jimmy Neutron. Yeah. Okay. And we'll go on to the next one because this one's about me anyway. So I definitely did not think about this one long enough. So this will take some work from Damon. This is from Garrett. Imaginary restaurant. Every item on the menu is something Damon would actually eat. So maybe 4 to 5 entrees, a couple of appetizers, desserts. I feel like he has covered. So, okay. Whew. If I didn't delve too deep into this, I would say it's an Italian-Chinese fusion restaurant. Okay. It's appetizer-wise, it's going to have Italian egg rolls is going to be its main thing. Okay. So like a crispy sort of egg roll action here. Entrees, chicken saltimbocca is my favorite, so I would take that. I'm going to take a chicken parm. I'm going to take General's chicken. I'm going to take Kung Pao chicken, and I'm going to take maybe some sort of pork, triple fried pork, maybe. I'm going to go there. Those are going to be my entrees. My appetizers, like I said, fresh mozzarella and all that stuff, along with some egg roll action and dumplings, of course. Right.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think that would be probably, if I was doing something at Disney, what I would do in terms of fusion.
To answer your question before about Jimmy Neutron, I did my Googling. It did replace the Hanna-Barbera ride.
Okay.
In 2001 and lasted for, it lasted for 8 years.
Okay.
And then was replaced by Despicable Me Minion Mayhem.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. So I'm going to tell you that I usually don't get sick on rides. Jimmy Neutron kind of messed me up, though. and again, it's the same thing with Star Wars. As the ride winds down, the syncing between the screen and the seats gets just a teeny bit off. each year that ride progresses, unless it's, totally redone. That's what happened to Star Wars. The end of the first run of Star Tours is brutal, man. Like, people were just getting sick all over the place until they redid it. And I felt like Jimmy Neutron was kind of the same thing. Before they put it to Despicable Me, it roughed me up, man.
Is it was it a motion simulator? Because I don't remember.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so they because the one before it was a motion simulator, so they didn't remove everything from it. They just kept it as a motion simulator and just threw in new theming.
Yep.
Okay, well that makes sense. Yeah. All right. Well, see, look at this. We're learning stuff today. All right. What do we got now?
We're on F.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, did you need to add anything else to your menu, Damon, or are you good?
No, he only gave me 4 to 5 options. I mean, you guys can feel free to create your own restaurant as well.
I mean, apparently they don't want our opinion. It's,
Well, I would have to come back to that because that's
I'd have to think about it.
Way too much thought. Okay, let's move on to Ashley's question.
Which is a great question, by the way.
Yeah, she says, I hope they keep the golden apple at Snow White's Scary Adventure in Disneyland, or whatever it's called now. I don't remember what they changed it to, but she says, because when you touched it, you could hear the evil queen cackle. Are there any little things like this at WDW that are maybe not known to everyone that you like? So yeah, I know what you're talking about. So for those that don't know, when you walk up to, right when you're going inside the queue at Snow White's Scary Adventure, there's a gold apple sitting off to the side, and there's no queue or anything that says, hey, touch this or whatever. But if you put your hand on it, you do hear the evil queen cackle, which is, like she said, it's one of those nice little Easter egg things that most people wouldn't think about. Similar things at Disney World. I mean, really what it comes down to is you're talking about those interactive park elements that aren't, it's not necessarily part of a ride or in a queue. I mean, that one is, but I'm trying to think what kind of stuff there is at Disney World that really stands out to me. The first one is, coming into Pandora, there's that weird,
that thing you can touch.
Yeah. There's that where the side, it kind of breathes or something like that. So, there's that.
I think my favorite ones are within the queue of Muppets Vision 3D. Like the key under the mat and the ring.
Yes.
That's there's some fun stuff in that queue. Like there's a sign that says something like there's a key under the mat, that the crew's going to be back. There's a key under the mat. And if you pick up the mat, there's actually a key under there.
Right.
There's some little things like that. It's not necessarily interactive, but it's a fun one. And, there's a couple different ones in there. But also too, and this was brought up too, the rope at Indiana Jones that you can pull on. You know what I'm talking about? That rope?
Yes, which unfortunately doesn't work all the time, but it's very hilarious when it does work.
Yeah, exactly.
There's two things in the Indiana Jones Adventure queue. There's the rope where you can hear a guy down below, and so what it is you pull on the rope, and it's like a guy who's trying to bring some artifacts up. And then you pull on the rope and you hear something break, and the guy gets upset because it sounds like an expensive or a priceless artifact just got shattered on the floor, which is funny. The other one is, before that, you're walking through a room and the room is all, it looks like one of those trap rooms where there's spikes coming down from the ceiling, and there's bamboo, holding up the room. It looks like somebody put bamboo stalks there to stop the room from collapsing. One of the bamboo you can grab, and if you pull on it, and again, it doesn't always go off, but the spikes will actually start coming out of the ceiling, and it'll play some music and everything, which is it's absolutely hilarious when it does go off, because nobody's expecting it, and you'll always be in there, or before COVID, you'd be in there with 15 other people. And all of a sudden the spikes start coming down, and people, not just kids, adults will legitimately freak out in the moment. It's so much fun.
That's funny.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff like that. I would you guys consider the monster that's inside the pipes in Galaxy's Edge that? It's not interactive, but it's something you can notice.
Yeah.
It's a little detail.
Yeah,
I think that's
so.
kind of what she's talking about, right?
Yep.
Which I caught it once. I mean, and I've only been to Galaxy's Edge that one time because of, everything shut down. So, but I only got to go that one time. But hopefully this next time I go, I'll be able to look at it again. But I love those kinds of those little things,
Yeah, I'm trying to think what, like, oh gosh, there, like, if you really think about it, there is a ton of
stuff.
There is little things like that, but it's just a matter of, stopping to pay attention, or even stopping to, ask a cast member about something, because it's not always, a lot of times they'll know what's up with something, or they'll know about some of these things. And it's not until you bring it up, or until you say, hey, what's this, that you won't find out how it works, or again, for that's for more of the interactive things. But even, like you said, like the key under the mat, like, a lot of times people would never think to, pick up a mat, right? So,
well, I'm not gonna lie. This was many trips ago. Like I saw the sign and I was looking at it, and there was a cast member standing right there, and I was like, and I jokingly said something to her. I was like, "Is there actually a key under the mat?" She goes, "Why don't you look?" And then I picked up the mat and it was there. But I just like, it's almost one of those things that you wouldn't even think to do. You're right, because like, why would you? It's like moving a cone or moving a piece of the line cue. You know what I mean? Like it's something you're not necessarily probably supposed to do, right? But it's there for you to do. So I always like stuff like that. Those little details. This isn't like not a well known one, but I feel like the sword. The sword and the stone right at the carousel there is one of those things, right? I mean, it's not a small one, but everyone knows it. But
it isn't. But one fun thing with that, I guess, is it doesn't hurt to go and try and pull on it, or have your kids pull on it, because unless
you're that guy at Disneyland that broke it and ripped it out.
Don't do that. But a little bit of a magic spoiler is, the thing is operated by cast members, and sometimes, there won't be a show or anything, but, a random kid will pull on it, and then the sword will come out, which is always fun, when it just happens unexpectedly. So, even if it's not, like the sword is not something that happens all the time, it doesn't hurt to go by and, pull on it, although right now you can't do that, but
I'm also just thinking of Push too. I'm thinking of Miss Push, the trash can, the talking trash can. You guys remember Push?
But Push isn't around anymore though.
No, Push is still, but I miss Push.
I mean, we would have to, oh gosh, I feel like I would have to
This is a rabbit hole. I feel like
let me think of if there's a way to quantify all this stuff, or how to lay it out, because oh god, actually you kind of brought up a big
broke our brains. You broke our
big question here.
Let's move on to Rachel, who emailed us, and I appreciate all the email questions lately. It's interesting. I've been getting emails lately, so I've been listening for about a year, but recently joined the Facebook group and wanted to submit a question for the show. What is the true park icon for Hollywood Studios? The other three are obvious, but Hollywood Studios, I see Chinese Theater, Tower of Terror, and even some things still use the Earful Tower, which of course is gone. What do you think is the park icon? Specifically, I'm having a carved wood custom piece made with the four icons and trouble deciding on what to use. This is a tough question.
Wait, is she having our man do it?
I don't know. Are you having the Imagineer guy do it?
Yeah, I wonder. Ooh, this
we'll have to find out. Let us know, Rachel.
Man, this is a real tough one, because I think that if you go for what we have now, it's almost something Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't want it to be. Not that I dislike Star Wars, but I don't want it to be. I want it to be the Sorcerer's Hat, but it can't be. But it can be, right? So here's the thing: sure. Like, if it's your own custom wood piece, like I'd go nostalgic, right? And I'd go with the Sorcerer's Hat personally, but it doesn't exist there now. What would I do? Oof.
It's tough.
Yeah, that is a hard one. I think back. So I have one of those ornament sets that, had the landmark from each of the parks, and it had the hat was the ornament for Hollywood Studios. But like you said, the problem is the hat is gone, and they've kind of replaced it with Tower of Terror. But again, that's only because it's the tallest landmark there, right?
Yeah, but that is like, you could see that from Epcot. That's the first thing you see, I feel like, before you get in the park, right? Like, because you could see it from like everywhere.
Yeah, I think maybe you got to go with that. But again, I would still go with the hat, because I was there during hat times. But if I wasn't there during the hat times, I guess.
this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm kind of glad the hat is gone, and I'll tell you why.
You're a bad person.
That wasn't the reason I was thinking, but I look at the park as originally designed, and when you walk in, you're supposed to see all the way down that street and see the Chinese theater and see that whole, and it blocked it before. It like ruined the whole sight lines of the original park. And I think to me, the Chinese theater is the icon of the park, but it's hard also too, though, when you see Tower of Terror and you can see that from anywhere, that to not put that one there, and it has a distinctive look, but so does the Chinese theater. So I think it's between those two.
The Chinese theater, I think, could have been if the park was designed differently. Once you added Star Wars, it changed what that park was. And I think that's where it becomes hard for me to see the Chinese theater. Plus, it had your favorite ride, right? So it's gone.
My favorite ride?
Great
in
movie.
the area.
I mean, that wasn't my favorite ride, but I liked it.
But that's what the park was about, right? So the park has morphed, I think, to
it's totally different. Yeah.
So I almost think at this point on what the park is, you have to go Star Wars from the iconic standpoint of what that park is. But for me, I'm still doing the hat.
But like what from Star Wars though? Like just like a mountain range, or like I guess you could do the Millennium Falcon. Yeah.
A stormtrooper. I mean, you do a
stormtrooper helmet, just a stormtrooper helmet. That'd be cool. Yeah, I like that.
Lightsaber. I mean, but now I'm more curious about this piece. Like, what is this carved wooden piece you're talking about? Please tell us,
Rachel. You got to let us know. We need to hear a follow up on this.
Yeah,
sorry,
for sure.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say to your point about that like walking into each of the parks. You're right. Like when I think about you walk down Main Street in Magic Kingdom, you walk up to the Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom, or you walk into Epcot in front of Spaceship Earth. All three of those parks, you feel it. Like you know what I mean, right? Like you feel it. You know where you are. Hollywood Studios, you don't, or for me at least, when I walk down that street, that street is there, and I feel that 1950s Hollywood kind of vibe, but I don't, looking at the end of the street at the theater, I don't feel it.
What if Tower of Terror was there?
That I would.
Interesting.
And that's the thing, is that when I turn that corner and I see Tower of Terror, I feel that emotion for Tower of Terror. But that's because like I'm stoked for the ride. It's not that I'm like I'm here. It's just because of the ride.
It's interesting because I think the three, that you're talking about, right? They all have one thing in common, and that's like a wow factor, right? It's almost like a larger than life, like big, like unique structure.
It's also prominent of where it is, though, in the park. That's what Trevor definitely making me think about now.
But then if you look at like the Chinese theater, it's just a theater, right? It's just a building that is a theater. It's not like larger than life. You don't look at it and go, whoa, like, you know. And I see what you're saying there. Yeah.
And the thing is that, but where the Chinese theater is, that's where
it's too far.
But that's where that thing is supposed to be. That's where there should have been something that was bigger than.
Don't you think it's a little too far though, too?
It is, like, because it's
far,
not, it's not just at the end of the street. It's like you have to keep going past the
what if
courtyard.
What if what if the Chinese theater was just an archway walkthrough instead, and it existed where that cross street was, where you would go to Tower of Terror?
I like the whole I like having the whole Chinese theater there. Like, it's cool. Like, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but you're saying basically bring it more forward.
Yeah, it would have to be a walkthrough at that point.
It would.
Can I say a low key what I think icon of the park is the Mickey standing on top of the world when you walk in. It's not.
I never look at that.
I don't think it's like an icon of the park, because again, you got to have that larger than life thing, right? It's just something that I always associated with that park.
The hat.
Yeah, the hat was that. Yes, the hat was that. That's for sure. I can't disagree with that. I didn't dislike the hat. I wish the hat was somewhere else. That's all. I wish the hat
was also in the spot that we're talking about, that me and Trevor are kind of referring to. It was closer up. It was, boom. When you got in there and saw that hat, you were like, all right, I'm here.
Yeah. And the theater's not doing that. There's something missing there.
So your answer, Rachel, is none of us have an answer.
Oh, no, I have an answer. It's the hat.
It's the hat.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to go Tower of Terror. I'm going to say my final's Tower of Terror.
I lean towards the hat, but I could definitely say Tower of Terror as well.
Yeah, I would go Tower of Terror if she had never been to the park or her family when the hat was around. Then I would go Tower of Terror as my second follow-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, there's nothing stopping you, Rachel, from using from using the hat or from using Earful Tower. I mean, you could use either one. I mean, you could still use that if that's the way you remember the park icon. Then use that, man. Like, do it.
Yeah, it's your thing. You know, nobody's going to tell you what you can or can't do with it, right?
I think regardless of what you use, everyone who knows anything about Disney is going to recognize it either way, right? So
yeah, and like I said, truth be told, if I saw the hat, I would be like, oh, that's cool. Like that would be my personal take on it, because like you said, Damon, you know, being there when the hat was there, I would relate with that. So
yeah, I agree. All right, let's read our last question. Can we do the ad first? I know we have one question left, and it feels like
sure,
a
Tom.
spot,
Whatever you would like.
I feel like we're in the middle, and I need to put it in the middle. So
okay.
Our ad this week is for DVC Rental Store. The DVC Rental Store, a World of DVC company, offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. And as always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 382-7368. And of course, let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right. The last question. Listen, I had to include this whole email because she gave us a little...
No, I appreciate it, but I don't think we need to read the whole thing.
Well, I want to read the part, just to give us, to make us happy. I wanted to email you first to say you guys are awesome, and I don't know where I'd be without your podcast to get me through the past year. That's so nice.
That is nice.
Yeah.
That feels really nice. That makes me feel really good. She just got trip. This is Corinne, by the way. Just got back from a boardwalk trip. And she, I'm going to just go through this. She said she felt very safe. She got to ride Rise of the Resistance twice. She also says, Damon, you should have Gideon's because it was awesome, that you should try it.
I mean, I think, again, I'm going to try it if the wait is 20 minutes or less. I'm not going to try it at a wait over 20 minutes. That's what I'm going to say.
Fair enough. Yeah. So it sounds like she had a really good experience, but she did have a question. She wanted to know if you could have Disney keep one change they made in response to the pandemic, what would it be? It's a tough question. Yeah. Really tough question.
Wow.
So here's the interesting thing about this is that you have to think about it, right now, all of these things are playing together, the lines, having to book your parks, the distancing,
time, yeah.
But all these things are happening at the same time. So it's like, you have to think about, if everything else was back to normal, what is that one thing that you think would still make sense even when everything else is back to normal? Right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I have something for myself. So I think that the way that they've handled cleanliness is more reminiscent of what they were doing on the cruise ship. And I can say that as someone who's gotten sick while at Disney and has had kids that have been sick while at Disney, I'm good with all of that. Like the extra hand sanitizing, all that sanitization stuff.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on board with. Like, I don't want to go and get a stomach bug or a cold while I'm at Disney. So if we can continue to hand sanitizer, probably, because I'm assuming, right, I haven't been, but I can only assume that there's an extra level of hand sanitizing that's going on. I'm all in for keeping that, man.
I've heard it's everywhere. That it's every 15 feet, basically, you can find hand sanitizer.
And I'm kind of good with that.
Yeah. Because,
dude, your kids get sick and have a stomach thing at Disney, which mine have had.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
I went to the doctor at Disney. I told you guys I got terribly sick at Disney one time when someone sneezed directly in my face. So
I'm sorry, it's not funny.
No, it is funny. It's totally funny. Looking back, I can laugh at that, but literally, they sneezed directly in my face, and I was sick the next day, and it was just. And it was like a drive-by. Like, we were walking by each other. So I wasn't
And
even standing.
He didn't go to the corner of the arm.
Yeah, no, he didn't go.
just
He didn't
flat out.
Was the didn't do like was it the vampire cough? Is that what they call it? Where you do, or sneeze into your arm? No, just did it right out in the open, then right into my face, like literally where I felt moisture on my face, and was sick the next day, and was really badly sick. It's not fun to go to the doctor while you're at Disney. That's for sure. And then last year, my sister, when we went last time, my sister got strep throat, while she was there too. So that was also fun. That's a good one, Damon. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I feel like a lot of people would say fast passes, but I mean, no, I don't think,
I think when things are back to normal, I feel, everyone's like, they're using right now as an example of, see, we don't need fast passes. And I'm saying that's bull. Yeah, that's bull because when it gets back to capacity, you're going to want those fast passes back.
There was rides that were over 3 hours wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if that's what I want to ride, then I can't fast pass. Like that's
it takes up your whole day. Yeah, it takes up half your day.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that. Go ahead, sorry, Trevor.
I was going to say, in fact, I feel like, I know they want to have a certain amount of queued rides because it eats up so many people in the park. But I would hope that they get better at doing like more fast passes or things closer to like not Rise of the Resistance and that, it's impossible to get in there if you're not booking at a particular time. But, I do want to see more of that smart queue management.
Yeah. So I guess my thing I'd want them to keep is the early morning magic hours for all the parks, but make it like an hour and have it every park every day an hour. Like, just keep that permanently. Because right now it's only half hour, I think they're doing, right? So make it an hour, but keep it at every park every day. Still do nighttime ones later on, do extra magic hours, at night sometimes, because those are cool too. But I love the idea of the early morning ones, an hour early for every single park, every single day. You don't have to think about it. You just can show up early and, you don't have to be like, oh, on this day, this park is open. It gets a little bit confusing and difficult to manage around. And, like we said before, a lot of people will skip parks on the days that there's extra magic hours, but, you don't have that when all of them have extra magic hours in the morning every day. So that's what I want them to keep.
I don't know. I kind of liked having the different days because like you said, I was using that as a way of avoiding certain parks. So
well, you could still have different days at night. I'm just saying in the mornings.
I like that too, Tom. Being a morning person, I'm on board with that too.
I can't get up early.
It just depends if you're a morning or a night person, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person, but my kid gets me up at 6:00 anyway. So, I'm up anyway, right? So might as well.
You see, my big problem is because I have to, it's 2 hours ahead because of the time zone change. It's very hard for us to get up early, but it's easier for us to stay late. So I actually want it the other way where they have the parks open later.
I'm not against that either. I'm not against them changing and making it nighttime extra magic hours.
I think it's harder for them to clear the park and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's true.
Than it is to let people in early, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I still want it.
So what is your thing? Yeah. What is your thing?
The thing that I want them to keep. Oh shoot! I didn't really think this through because I was so busy thinking about what you guys were talking about.
I mean, you can pick one of ours. You can say both of ours.
Yeah, you can steal one. Yeah, it's okay.
Actually, I think I agree with you, Damon. The sanitizing needs to stay where it is, or get better. Because I'm with you. I think everyone has been. If you've been to Disney multiple times, you've been sick there at least once. And, for us in particular, like I bring basically a small medicine cabinet with me to account for like all the potential, stomach bugs or flus or whatever that you might get. But then on top of that, even before all of this, I was carrying bottles of hand sanitizer and wipes and all that kind of stuff. So, if they were going to do that more to a point where I didn't feel like I had to be, constantly wiping everything down, even though I still probably would because, I'm sorry, but there's some people
didn't have to carry the hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
You could just get it. That would be better.
That's true. Yeah. If I knew that, I was within, 20 yards of finding hand sanitizer, I would definitely feel better about that. So yeah, that probably makes the most sense to me to keep even after all this.
All right, cool. Well, look at that. It only took us like 50 some minutes to do all the questions today.
Yeah.
Well,
Damon, you got your topics. I actually put your topics on there.
I know. Well, it's because I had to pull them out on the board, so I appreciate it.
I mean, it works, right?
It definitely does work. I just want to update on masks because I was able to get some nanofiber masks. So it's easier just to look up. But the interesting part about the nanofiber masks, they kind of look see-through, right? So you have to understand the science that's going on. I guess it was explained that it's kind of like a plate of spaghetti that there's only one noodle. So the way it captures everything. So from my understanding, nanofiber is 99% effective in terms, so a little bit better than an N95 mask, I believe. I don't know. You have to do your research, but I got one of them because I was kind of curious. It wasn't, I thought that because of the way that you can kind of see through it a little bit, that it might be a little bit better for exercising in terms of ventilation, and it really wasn't. Which I guess is good and bad. I don't know, but it was the same. So I'm going to still stick by my Primal Wear mask, the 3.0 is probably still my favorite mask. It's the mask I wear most often. The 3.0 has that layer of the copper in it as well. So that would still be my favorite mask.
I actually just bought one on your recommendation, Damon, from before. I bought a Stark's vacuum one.
I like those as well. My wife would wear those. It just came
in the mail yesterday. I haven't put them on yet, but yeah.
Yeah, my wife would say that those are probably her favorite. But the Primals I like, especially because they have that neck lanyard, so it doesn't pull on your ears as much. Even though it does have ear loops, it also has, the thing that you can also kind of let it hang around your neck a little bit as well. So if you're going to eat, you don't have to put it in your hand. But anyway, the nanofiber ones were interesting. Again, for people that don't know about them, might be worth doing your research, but I didn't feel like it was the end all be all mask for me. All right. So the quiz, dude, I thought we were going to do the quiz together.
Are we going to do that now?
Yeah.
We're going to do the whole quiz together. All right.
I mean, I'm not trying to read each one of them. I have to say there should be maybe what we'll do is pick your favorite one out from each of the columns. That's what I would say. For anyone that doesn't know, we do have How Old School Disney World Are You? It was put together by myself, Jeremy, and then two other people that helped us with it as well in the group. And it's kind of fun to see, where you are and kind of what you've done. So I'm going to, based on what we talked about, there's so many in the first column, but they're all in order for me, is that Visiting River Country, Expedition Everest, Pre-Disco Yeti, and Photo with the Sorcerer's Hat are all winners for me in column 1.
I feel like I'm going to fail on a lot of these.
Ooh, plus Riding Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That's another good one from the first column, I would
Definitely
say.
went on that when I was a kid.
Yeah,
sure.
Oh, and Ellen and 20,000
Leagues Under the Sea. Yes, The Timekeeper. I talked about that on a previous show. Lights, Motor, Action, one of my favorites. Body Wars, great movie ride. Yeah, all these, man.
Alien Encounter.
Oof.
I need to shout out for Captain EO.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Always a shout out for. Does it only count if you did it during the original run or when they brought it back? Because I think when they brought it back.
When they brought it back, you can still have that one.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I get that one. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Use individual ride tickets. Man, now you're going really old. I think you're going with the ticket book, man. Right?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So in column 2, so we got Push the Trash Can is a pretty good winner.
Column about that.
Yeah, column 2 is not as fun for me as the other ones, though, where there's a lot of Fantasy in the Sky fireworks, parades and stuff. The Journey into Narnia, Prince Caspian, with all the stuff that they had for the Journey into Narnia, that was kind of cool. I remember that.
I don't even remember that existing. When was that?
That was a while back, obviously.
And I was going to say that was back in
they had a lot of the costumes
days, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had a lot of the costumes and stuff, which was kind of cool.
There's nothing. I suck at the second tab or the second column. There's nothing there
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
There's
third
tough stuff in there.
The third column. So Ridden Primeval World. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Ridden the original Star Tours and ridden the original Test Track. I would say the original Test Track is so much better than this one.
Yes, I would agree. Especially the end where you almost hit the crash test dummy
Break
wall.
Through the wall.
Yeah.
Like that was the way they set that up was amazing. Like with the pre-show and everything. I love that so much.
And I think
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say Pixie Hollow being gone also is depressing. My daughter loved that.
I saw I don't know what that one is, but I saw a video recently of somebody on a test track, and the doors were just open. Like the doors at the end were just open and you could see the light. And I'm like, that just ruins the whole thing. Like the whole idea is you're going to hit the wall, like the door's got to open. So anyway, sorry guys.
I was going to say, you're talking about things like Pixie Hollow and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. You have to get to Disneyland, Damon, because these things are still there.
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah.
And ridden Mouse Storm.
I went on Mr. Toad when I was a kid, but it's been obviously been a long time. So that one's one I don't have. I do have because I went on when I was a kid, but
yeah, but Tom, you know how it is. Unless we see pictures of it, we don't really believe you. I'm sorry.
you guys think I'm just making up this like fantasy land?
I think Tom has dreams of stuff he thinks he did, but they're so vivid in his dreams.
I was a kid though. Like I wasn't taking pictures of myself going on things unless my parents took pictures of it. That I don't have it.
Your parents need to maybe come onto the show and we can vet this.
My mom is in the Facebook group and has vouched several times for things that I've gone on. So
boy.
I will admit, when I was a kid, my parents gave me the camera once, and it was the film camera, and I shot about 30 photos in 2 minutes. And then, burn the whole roll of film. That was expensive
back then.
Yeah. And then they took the camera away and I wasn't allowed to take any more photos after that. So
wait, does this come out to 101 points? Is that what you can get with the bonus?
I don't know. You have to talk to Jeremy. It should be 86 plus 15. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. God, I mean, what are you doing, Jeremy?
No, and I'm okay with that because you see how we got visited River Country is really worth 11 points.
Yes. Because it's a bonus as well. Yeah,
it has to be a bonus. It's the best thing.
I see. Okay.
So anyway, people should do this and tell us what you think. We have somebody that got an 86.
It's pretty good.
That's darn good.
That is crazy.
Truth be told, my mom could probably get a pretty high score on this because they used to camp there when she was they were there when it first opened and camped there, and she could probably get a lot of these, and has been going her whole life and now lives an hour away. So, she's itching to go.
We'd have to see photographic evidence of River Country, though.
Listen, I've told you I don't believe I was at River Country. They're the ones telling me I was, but I don't believe because
maybe you were at the campsite in the lake.
I have no recollection whatsoever of River Country, so I don't think I was there. I think they're mixing it up, but they claim that I was there, so I don't know. I do not remember at all. I had to be very
Mom and Pop Tom. We'll have to get some evidence on that.
Yeah, we'll have to ask in this Facebook group. My mom will answer. She's retired. She's got nothing else to do. So
anyway. So funny enough,
we're an hour in and we really haven't even started the show.
No, we really haven't. So
okay, all right, fine. Let's. Okay, DVC news. Do we want to?
I don't think we need to delve deep into this.
Yeah, we don't need to. So they changed the point management policies back starting May 1st, which basically means that if you cancel a trip or whatever, your points go into holding within
cancellation policies.
Yeah, it's the cancellation policies, but this doesn't change the ability to borrow 50% of your points.
Yeah, this is the one that everyone complains about is the 50% point one, and that one is not going away yet. So. And they remind everybody that this is a member positive thing. If it's helping them manage inventory and accommodate more members who want to schedule their vacation. So, I understand this, and I understand also why people are mad about it. But
I do too. Yeah,
I understand also why they're doing it, and I think it's more of it's greater for the whole than it is for some people that need to borrow. So. Anything else we want to say about that? We just want to move on to the next thing.
That was an easy one.
Yeah, see, that was easy. Yeah. So a new main entrance, background music loop, and nighttime lighting package have debuted at Epcot now, and I have to tell you, so
I like lights.
Yeah, I mean they look amazing, right? Did you watch any of the videos of this? It's super cool because they're all coordinated. They can change it to any light they want. It's coordinated to any color they want. They can. It's all coordinated with the fountain and around the edges.
It's amazing how cool LED lights are and how simplistic you can go to make things look cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. We were talking about this, though, walking into Epcot. I'm almost a little disappointed that I'm staying at Boardwalk and I'm going to be walking in the back of the park because I'm going to miss out on that. I'm going to miss out on that whole entrance experience.
Well, what you need to do, no. You need to go get on a bus and you need to ride around to the front.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for a bus instead of just walking in.
Yeah. Go over to Caribbean Beach and ride from there. Then you'll get the
I think we're just going to walk to the front of the park and then pretend like we're entering and come in, just like pretend. I definitely want to go there at night to check out like this new light thing. Like that's a big thing I want to do for sure. Cause I mean, with the music coordinated to it and like all the different colors and it'll be even cooler once they finally, do the lighting package on Spaceship Earth. Cause that's not even part of this yet. This is just the fountain and like the outer edges. So, and then they have new music that is just kind of like cool futuristic music, which I like too. But, I thought this was neat.
I need to hear the music before I don't, here's my dilemma with this. And this is always my dilemma is that there's something to be said for watching a YouTube video versus that, walking in there blindly, just getting blasted in the face by it. Right. I know it's just background music and all that, but part of me wants to go and listen to it just to kind of sum it up against what the current music is like, because I do enjoy the music that was like in Future World and the entrance to Epcot, but I don't know if I can wait like a year to
check it out.
Yeah.
There's some videos out there already of it that you can listen to. What the new music is. It used to be, they had some of the music from like the rides, they would have like a futuristic version of it thrown in there. They kind of got rid of that. So now it doesn't have any of that, like the rides involved in it. It's more of just like general futuristic sounding music, like, and like big, like, I don't even know how to put it, but I listened to some of it and it was pretty cool. I like it. It definitely feels very Epcot to me. It feels right,
Okay. Okay, I'll go with that for now, but we may come back and have this discussion again when I finally get back to it.
When you finally listen to it?
Yeah.
I didn't put this in here though too, but they also did a big thing the other day where they raised all the flags. Did you guys see that for the different pavilions?
No.
Yeah, I know that doesn't matter to everybody, but I thought it was cool. It was all the different logos for all the different pavilions, like the old school Epcot logos. It looks pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just glad this whole entrance project is done. I'm excited to go and see like what this entrance looks like now, that they've done all this work. So,
and now they need to finish the work behind Spaceship Earth to get, the rest of Future World looking nice.
Exactly. It seems like they're moving along on that though. So,
yeah.
All right. Anything else about the Epcot lights?
Nope. I briefly want to talk about the updates to the Polynesian.
We don't have to make it
rooms.
brief. I mean, I think this is an interesting topic, right?
It is, but the only thing that sucks is that this is not the DVC rooms. It's just the standard rooms, which I'm probably never going to see myself because I have no reason to stay in a non-DVC room at the Poly.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that. I mean, but so you're saying though you like this though, you would be okay if they did this to the DVC rooms, like
yeah, absolutely, yeah. I like the fact that like the color scheme to me really, like it feels like they kind of kept that. I don't know. The Poly seems to have like this like. I feel like it's almost like a 60s retro
it's
vibe.
Very 60s, yeah.
But they kept that like they kept the oranges and the blues and stuff in there.
I think it was Moana subdued, which is exactly what I would have wanted.
Yeah.
That was kind of what I was expecting, right? So like they have a lot of those patterns from Moana that are also just, kind of Polynesian patterns. Now there's some Moana in there, like some overt Moana, but it's not the whole thing. It's kind of, I think when we talked about this originally, I said I expect them to do what they did at Animal Kingdom, where it's like you see some like Lion King-esque stuff in the rooms. And like, I think you see like a Simba's face in one place or another, but it's pretty subtle and it's not overwhelming and it's not all over the place. And they did the same thing here. And from the reactions I've seen on Facebook, I think everybody is psyched about this change. I think I've not seen anybody been like, oh, they've ruined everything. It seems like people are positive about this one because it looks really good. It's very bright. It's very new. It's, feels updated, and without it being overtly, I mean, it is overtly character driven, but it's not as bad as some people probably would have thought.
I would stay in this room, no question. Like just looking at the room, yeah, I would stay in it. And it's not, I know what you're talking about. It's like, I'm thinking back to, staying at the All-Stars resorts, kind of that,
any room at Art of Animation is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like just that over the top cartoony, like just too much. And they definitely didn't do that. Like they definitely kept in mind, what kind of resort it was, what kind of theme it was. And yeah, like you said, it's, there's some very obviously, hey, Moana is in here, but it's also, it's not enough that it feels like the artwork is staring at you, I guess, is the thing, right? So,
well, because you can't go super cartoony. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but but I like the hey, like how they put him in there. Like it's kind of a nice. I like the touch.
But behind the coffee bar. Yeah, that's really
it's the
cool.
perfect place for it. Yeah, but you have to do it that way at a place like the Polynesian that charges like upwards of $400 a night if you pay cash to stay there, right? Like you can't go super cartoony with expensive like that. It's just not what people expect, right? I mean, so for an expensive resort like that, I think that they did a really nice job with this, and I think it's interesting, and it kind of leads into the other topic I have on here is that in Disney's announcement, they kind of hinted that they're going to do this in more places. They said it's part of the overall evolution of Disney Resort hotels as we infuse even more Disney touches across our collection. Now, what that means, I don't know.
Yeah. If it's done as subdued as Moana, it's fine.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about, kind of like you're saying, is that when you're staying at a hotel that is that expensive, like you want it to be classy at the same time.
Yeah.
You want it to be different and classy, and they have to make sure that they're doing both.
It's a very fine line to walk, I feel like. And I think they did a really good job with the Moana rooms.
I think they did, but The Incredibles is... How do you do that with The Incredibles unless you go like high techy?
Yeah.
Right? But that's the thing. You don't want it to be too cartoony. I would agree.
I feel like The Incredibles, they can just kind of use like that world that they created, like that futuristic-y, like I think that they can do that. We talked about this, I think, a couple episodes ago, but I think they can pull it off with the Incredibles. Because for those that don't know, there's been a rumor for a while that the Contemporary is going to start having Incredibles accents, kind of like that they did with Moana. And so some people think that could be happening. They are doing remodeling coming up, so there's some thoughts that might be happening there. It's interesting though, because I see like one of the big criticisms of Riviera has been that it doesn't feel Disney enough. It just feels like a nice hotel room, right? And so that's where I feel like there's a really fine line, right? It's like they almost didn't put too much. They didn't put enough Disney in that very nice hotel. They just they made it more subtle.
Should have been DuckTales, Scrooge McDuck
in the Riviera. Yeah. But like I think that's where they kind of have a tough time here, because it's a fine line, and they did well with the Moana one, but for some people didn't do great with the Riviera one. So it's hard to know,
Yeah, I think. Honestly, I think The Incredibles is going to be easier than you think, because if you look in those shows at the set design, they were definitely thinking of that. Again, it's weird how they keep going back to like that 60s. Like it seems like
the 60s version of the future kind of thing.
Yeah, the 60s version of the future, or that 60s aesthetic seems to work, or it's kind of, maybe it's transcended, being like I feel like there was a point where it was like, there was a lot of tacky furniture back then, but there was also, a revised version of it now can definitely be comfortable, and it can be, enough that, it looks different, but it's not overwhelming to the point where you're like, oh God, let me out of this room. Right.
Yeah. I think like what Damon said, if they do it as subtly as they're doing Moana, I think that it will be great. And I think there's a lot of cool things they can do with it too, like you're talking about, with that futuristic kind of vibe, where it's like the futuristic version of the 60s in the 60s, and you can do some cool stuff with like the furniture, and there's some really neat things I think they can do there.
I mean, in that universe they have Edna Mode, like she's a fashion designer, like that should just open the whole there's a whole gambit of stuff they can do there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like we could do a whole waitlist episode on what other IPs you'd like to see in like different hotels, and I almost feel like we've talked about it before, but I feel like we could do a whole waitlist just on that.
We've talked about IPs in the parks. I don't know if we've really dove into how those would translate into hotel rooms.
All right, book it. We're doing a wait list.
All right, cool.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds like a fun one to talk about, I think.
Yeah, it does actually. I think we can go some weird places with that for sure.
For sure.
All right, so we got another patent.
We haven't talked patents in a while, I feel like.
Yeah. This is I feel like we've seen this before.
I was thinking the same thing, but this is a newly filed patent. So I don't know if this is an iteration of that or if this is something new or what. I don't know.
Right. So basically what I'm gathering from this patent is that it's a multimedia show system where it's not just like a screen. It's like there's elements in the room that all play off.
Like an interactive room.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's an in-room entertainment or show system configured to provide engaging and immersive multimedia shows or presentations for nearly any space or room. So
can you imagine if Disney did an escape room?
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Wow, like that.
It would be ruined so quickly, though. It would be very difficult to stay away from learning too much about it, I think.
Well, you mean like it would be on the internet really
Yeah.
fast? Like okay.
Yeah, but it would be in the internet in ways that like you couldn't avoid it.
Gotcha.
Well, unless the interesting thing about escape rooms is that, you know, a lot of times they take away your phones and everything, right? So it's not.
No, I'm just saying pre-look. It
Right.
would be all over the groups. It would be.
They'd have to
Spoilers
change it
would be all over the
often.
groups. It would be tough.
They'd have to change it often.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with escape rooms is that even, you know, the ones out there, like at least the ones in my city, you know, they rotate puzzles and stuff once a month, even though they're meant to be modular, so you know they can change order and codes and stuff like that. And I guess that's the problem is, you know, Disney would then have to manage that, which I'm sure they wouldn't be too keen on doing. But still, that would be a really cool idea.
It seems
just
like something for Disney Springs.
Yeah. Just looking at this, like looking at this patent just gave me that idea. You know, you have a multimedia experience, but then there's all these interactive elements. It's like, if you turn that into a full like escape room type experience, oh man, that would be cool.
See, I look at this and I immediately thought Star Wars Hotel. That was where my head went immediately. I don't know what they're going to use it for. It just feels like something they would use in the Star Wars Hotel.
I'm still not over the bunk beds, so I'm not thinking about the Star Wars Hotel right now.
That's funny.
I need to see what those bunk beds look like before I get
before you can make your way over there. Yeah.
Yeah. The last pictures didn't really sell me on it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's interesting. So yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see what they use this for. They also just file patents all the time and not necessarily, you know, have like a use for them, you know, up front. So they file patents often and they don't necessarily mean they're going to use them. But this does feel like something they could use, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you know, it says media content is predefined for the room. The controller operates it by doing something, and then it serves some sort of content or magically transforms the space and the, you know, entertainment and that kind of thing. So it's interesting. I think it could be cool. We'll have to see what happens. I wondered like if this is something though, and like they could do in hotel rooms too. You know, I don't know what they would do this.
I wouldn't want something like that in my hotel room. Like, because you're talking about like it's a controlled system, right? It's not just an automated thing. So then you have to have somebody controlling it, and then that means that there's somebody messing with stuff in my hotel room.
No. I think the thought of this is that you're controlling it. That you would have to push a button or do. Yeah, like I don't think there's somebody monitoring your hotel room or whatever. Like,
still,
I think this is
I don't want to accidentally set something off in the middle of the night either, where it like starts doing stuff or talking to me or whatever, right?
That's a really funny idea because like it says in here, it says in response to triggering a switch. Can you imagine like getting up at like 3:00 in the morning and go use the restroom or something and try to get the light and you turn on like fireworks or something in your room? That'd be pretty funny. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know that the rest of my family would feel the same way about it.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
All right, so we only have one more thing on the list for today, actually. So we didn't have that much left after all the questions, right? So
yeah, this one's kind of big because
it is.
If you think about it, Disneyland has been closed for a year.
It's a year now, right? Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe that. I never thought I would see a time when Disneyland would be closed for a year. But the good news is that they announced that Disneyland can open up at 15% capacity starting April 1st. So, do
they even bother at 15%?
Well, they have to do something. It's not just a matter of not enough people coming into the park, but there is a whole bunch of people that were put on furlough and laid off.
Oh yeah. For
that. Sure. I'm sure they just want to get back to, functioning again and, working and all that. So, I don't
think they're opening April 1st though. Like, I don't think that's happening. I don't think that they can pull a whole opening of a new park together in 3 weeks.
So, well, no, because I've heard other, along the ways, Disney has been bringing back cast members and retraining them because, outside of this, we talked about the, they had that, what was it? The dinner thing. It's not a dinner thing. It's
the food festival thing.
The
special ticket event.
Yeah,
which sold out like super fast, by the way.
Yeah. So exactly. So that's the thing, is that they've been getting people trained up for that. And I'm sure Disney in their back pocket had, they've been trying to get their people back and working as quick as possible as well. So, I'm sure that they're as ready as they can be. Again, 15% capacity is not a massive amount of people. I wouldn't expect that all aspects of the park would be open. And the other thing to keep in mind too is that they've designated this to only California residents. So it's not like, I'm going to get on a plane and go travel there for the first week of April or anything.
Yeah, but California residents were most of the people there anyway, right? So
yes, but I mean there's still a lot of tourism. There still is, and again, talking about, we've been talking about this at Disney World, is there's a lot of pent up desire for people to want to go on vacations and stuff. So they had to clarify this because you knew that if they didn't, there would be a whole bunch of people showing up trying to get into Disney. And they don't want that, right? So,
yeah. Well, there was a statement from the president of Disneyland saying it's exciting news. Appreciate the partnership with state and local government officials. Thrilled to finally arrived at this milestone announcement. Health and safety, blah blah blah. It says we are ready to reopen, ready to bring our team members back to work, ready to help stimulate the economy and welcome guests. But they didn't say that they didn't announce a date yet. So that was from Universal Studios. My bad.
Yeah, but my understanding is that Universal is planning for around the same time as well. So I think both of them want to be open April 1st. And honestly, at this point, I understand being cautious and everything, but I'm sure they don't want to wait either. Like, both companies are chomping at the bit to get going again. So
and the Disneyland president said, we've already implemented all the safety protocols. Can't wait to welcome our guests back and look forward to sharing an opening date soon. That just makes me think they're not going to do it April 1st, that it's going to be sometime after that.
I feel like April 1st would be, if they do it that day, fine. And that could just be, that's what the governor said was, that's the earliest date they can open.
That's the earliest they can do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's still a weird day to open. Like
on April Fool's Day?
Yeah. That could be a very massive, well, it wouldn't be a funny joke at all. But.
Well, the question also becomes what they do with tickets. I mean, are they just going to make everybody pay for regular tickets? Like, I mean, how's that going to work? I'm sure there's a lot of stuff for them to figure out at this point, right? So...
Well, the thing is they canceled all their annual passes, right? Like it wasn't even a, hey, we don't, or, you can have your pass and renew it. They actually canceled their existing pass holders and gave them what they called a legacy pass so that they can get some of the discounts and everything. But they made it very clear that pass won't get you into the park right now.
Yeah, so technically nobody has a ticket to Disneyland reopening right now, right? So like that's stuff they got to figure out, right? And they have to figure out, are they going to do that park reservation system? Now, like, listen, I guarantee that they have been working on this behind the scenes. Like, I don't think that they've just been sitting, twiddling their thumbs for the past year. Like, I'm sure that they've been prepared, for this for a while and have been waiting for the ability to reopen and we'll be ready to go. Because even if you looked at, there's been news, here and there of people noticing that they've been putting up the plexiglass, putting up the, the distance markers and all that stuff. So like they've been doing all that already while they were waiting. So I have a feeling that they're ready for this. But like we're talking about, it's going to take time to bring people back from furlough. It's going to take people time to retrain those people, get them up to speed. It's not like a flip of a switch, right? Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time. So if I were to guess, I would say May. I'm going to guess May 1st, not April 1st. That's just my guess. I
know what you're saying, and honestly, I don't think.
You don't think they're going to wait that long?
No, I think, like you said, they have been bringing people back from furlough. They have been doing training behind the scenes. So I feel that they've got a bunch of people sitting in the wings that are just waiting to go.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out soon, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be an announcement pretty soon here.
Oh, yeah. And it's, again, at 15% capacity, it's not like, they have people that have been there for a long time that were probably put on furlough. So it's not like these are, it's not like they have to go and find a whole bunch of brand new people. Like I'm sure, like they already have people there that it's basically just a refresher of what they're doing and, getting them up to speed on the new guidelines and everything. Yeah. But on the whole, like they do have, I actually know of, so I have a friend that lives in Long Island, and her daughter has worked at Disney for years. Like she was working there up until the pandemic. So it's not like, it's not like the people working there. It's I guess the difference is that at Disney World they have a lot more like college students and stuff because they have the college program there. Whereas in Disneyland, like they do have. They have people of all ages working there, but they tend to have people that have been working there a lot longer. And like I said, I just think that, that the staffing thing, I think is going to be one of the smaller issues that they have to deal with going into.
I think the technology is a big part, like, right, is doing getting the reservation system up, figuring out what they're going to do with tickets. Like there's a lot of that kind of stuff, I think.
Yeah. And that'll be the bigger thing is just getting people up to speed on what the new procedures are. But I don't think they're going to have a problem with getting their existing staff up to speed.
You do make a good point about that. I remember watching that One Day at Disney series on Disney Plus where they would have, like they'd highlighted different like cast member or people that work, throughout the Disney company. And every time they talked to somebody from Disneyland, they were like, I've worked here for 30 years. Like, like everyone has worked there for a really long time. It's very much a place where like a lot of the employees are very experienced and have been there a long time. So that's a good point.
Yeah. So
all right.
I'm hopeful, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah,
let's
do it.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Damon fell asleep because we were talking about Disneyland. So
yeah, well,
I did. That's a little snoozer.
Oh, someone's got to write a review now. Damon falls asleep at the end of every episode.
Exactly.
Damon hates Disneyland.
Yeah, he hates Disneyland. He doesn't like Disney. Why is he even on this show?
Seems about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah. Damon hates Disney so much that he's done a podcast about it for 4 years.
Exactly.
When I write the next bad review, I mean...
Yeah, when I make my next burner email, and that's where we get out all of our frustration with Damon. We just write bad reviews.
It's very difficult though to burner email out an iTunes account.
That's true. It's true.
No. It's not worth it.
Anyway.
All right. Okay, let's wrap it up. So, as usual, if you guys want to find us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We read your guys' emails. We love to get you guys on the show with your questions and everything through the emails. So, keep reaching out to us that way because it's one of the best ways to get us. If you don't want to reach us through mail, you can always find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. And again, a lot of you guys reach out to us directly through Facebook. Alternatively, if you want to get in on the community, make sure you join the Welcome Home Disney waitlist. It's our Facebook group and full of lots of fun people. There's great discussions that go on in there because of the, from the shows, but then, people will also bring stuff to the group, which I think is great. I think there's a lot of good Disney discussion in there, which, if you've been around Facebook, you know that some groups can get, interesting, with the
You said that so nicely.
Yeah, I'm invoking my Canadian a little.
I was going to say you said that in the very Canadian way, because I would have said chaotic, negative, toxic.
They're interesting, and I respect the fact that they're there. And but I think our group is different. So come join the group if you haven't already.
It's blowing up too. We're getting tons of people coming in, so obviously people are inviting other people, and just come.
I find interesting the amount of people that we have liking our page versus the amount of people that join the group is extraordinary.
Vastly different. Yeah.
I mean, it's most groups are not half the size of their page, which is a good thing. I'm saying it's a great thing. Like, we have a lot of people that join the group.
Yep. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and keep joining the group. So
keep joining. Yeah, keep joining. Yeah, keep doing
exactly. Outside of that, if you want to follow us on YouTube, you can find us as Welcome Home Podcast. Anytime we do live shows or anything like that, you can find those on YouTube. Hopefully, when Tom gets a chance to get to the park in April, we can get some video from there as well that you'll be able to find on the YouTube channel.
Absolutely. I plan on taking pictures and putting them on Instagram. I might put my wife in charge of that because I don't understand Instagram and she does. So I might refer to our Insta. But I'll definitely add some things for sure. So
again, keep
fully expect pictures of food is really.
I'm gonna take a picture of every thing of food that we eat, even though I'm not the picture of food guy. Like, I kind of laugh when people take picture of food, but I'm gonna do it for everyone.
This is the picture of food situation.
It is. Yeah. I will take a picture of all the food we're eating.
Make sure it's okay. Here's my challenge to you: if you're gonna take pictures of food, make sure it's not just the food sitting on a table. It has to be like somewhere weird that you would be like, why is he holding that in front of a plant or something like that?
So I gotta work on the background and
I guess so.
I gotta make sure it's kind of held correctly, proper lighting.
I mean, don't drop your food, obviously. Don't do anything dangerous where you know.
By the time I eat it, it's gonna be cold. It's gonna be doing all this setup, and then it's gonna be cold.
Well, if it's ice cream, then it's not a problem. So
no, then it's gonna melt. It's gonna be hot out. It's Florida. Anyway.
Yeah. So if you want to see all that chaos, make sure you follow us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Because that should be interesting. And then also, if you guys want any merchandise, make sure you check out our store, which is store.welcomehomepodcast.com. You can find masks there, you can find t-shirts, you can find mugs, and a few other things. So check it out if you want to get some merchandise. And as usual, we've gotten some good and some bad iTunes reviews. To Damon's point at the top of the episode, we love seeing both the good and the bad reviews. But remember that we are here doing this of our own free will, and just
also have free will and can choose not to listen.
But if you have some criticism for us, we do want to hear that. Just be nice.
It comes down to don't be petty.
Be nice.
That's what it really comes down to.
You can leave a bad review, but you can also be nice. So that's all we ask.
I understand why you rub some people the wrong way, Damon. I get it, but again, you don't want just Trevor and I agreeing with each other for an hour and a half every week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know that gets boring.
Nobody wants that. We need Damon here. Damon is part of, and Damon's been doing this with us for a long time. It's funny though.
I think what would be interesting is if all the people that didn't like the show joined the group, they would probably have nothing to say.
Well, that's totally true, because there's I feel like there's a different side of you on the group, right? It's
well, for all the people that complain about, you don't even stay in the show, do you know how much work goes into doing questions every day on the group? If those people were in there, they wouldn't even question that.
But you also you respond to people's comments thoughtfully.
Oh, yeah.
You're very engaged with the listeners on that group. So I feel like if people saw that, they would just see the other side of this, While you have strong opinions and give them, you also care a lot about what we do here. So,
Of course. But I don't really care about the people that don't like the show. I really don't. No, but just, dude, don't be petty. Just don't listen. That's cool.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
So don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, sometimes Spotify, if Spotify feels like working correctly, and just about any other podcast app available. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We're not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, any and all opinions we express on the show are our own, so please contact a DVC representative or Disney cast member for anything we talked about today. Big thank you to DVC Rental Store for continuing to support the show and continue to be a great sponsor. Please check them out if you want to rent out your points, or if you want to rent DVC points. You know, we hear from a lot of listeners that they've rented points too, so either way, right? So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion, of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no